You don't look like a Pickles.
Well, you don't look like a cat.
Hey! What's happening, everybody?
Anybody ever told you the world was gonna roll you? Well, this video might do just that, because we gathered the most clever pop culture references from the Shrek franchise, and you may be surprised by what we found.
Say no more, you don't have to worry about a thing.
Number 1. Here's one reference to rule them all. Fiona's wedding ring flies in the air and then lands on her finger in a shot-for-shot recreation of Frodo catching and wearing the One Ring for the first time in the Lord of the Rings movie. Maybe Lord of the Rings can return the favor with a Shrek reference in the new Amazon series. We wonder what the Silmarillion has to say about shape-shifting ogres. Number 2. They say that a hero could save us. Before Tom Holland and Zendaya charmed us with their on-screen, off-screen chemistry, the romance of the Spider-Man franchise all came from one iconic gravity-defying kiss. In Shrek 2, Shrek and Fiona recreate Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst's upside-down smooch. But in true ogre fashion, Fiona wipes away a face covering of mud instead of peeling back a superhero mask. Number 3. We have a grande half-calf sludgeachino for Schlepp. The Kingdom of Far Far Away features a spot-on Starbucks reference, with signage for Farbucks coffee looking exactly like the recognizable Starbucks font. And it seems like this Java chain is just as popular and inescapable in the fairy tale world as it is in ours, because in one shot you can see Farbucks coffee locations on 2 corners of the same street. Number 4. Was it us, or was it always kind of weird when the Beast turns human in Beauty and the Beast? Even if it left us missing our furry friend, the transformation at the end of that movie was iconic. The Shrek animators recreate that sequence when it's time for Fiona to take her final form. After the levitation and the golden beams of magic subside, Fiona is left in the body of an ogre, and we're here for it. Number 5. Shrek's got a kissy girl. Shrek 2 opens with a montage of Shrek and Fiona on their honeymoon. During a beachy makeout scene, the tide rolls in and a wave engulfs the fairy tale couple, leaving Fiona displaced by a mermaid who looks suspiciously similar to Disney's Ariel. Red hair, shimmering tail, and purple top? That can't be a coincidence. Looks like DreamWorks was inviting Disney to be a part of their world. Number 6. All you need is faith and trust and a little bit of pixie dust. Shrek mostly sticks to their own interpretations of the fairy tale world, but every once in a while there's an obvious reference to another famous representation of a fairy tale character. The fairies captured in jars to serve as lamps bear an undeniable resemblance to the beloved Disney version of Tinkerbell, who similarly gets trapped in a lantern by Captain Hook after she betrays Peter Pan. Number 7. Shrek's bringing sexy back. In Shrek 2, we learned that before being captured and locked away in a tower, Princess Fiona was just your typical preteen girl. Her old bedroom reveals her youthful obsessions, including a signed poster of Sir Justin with a picture of real-world pop star Justin Timberlake. An incredible added layer to this reference is that Cameron Diaz, the voice of Fiona, dated Justin Timberlake in real life. And don't worry, Fiona, you didn't miss your chance to see your teen heartthrob perform while you were locked away. We're sure they let ogres attend the concerts on the Trolls World Tour. Number 8. The gingerbread man gets the last word in Shrek.
Ah, whizzers on you guys!
Referencing Tiny Tim from the classic tale A Christmas Carol.
God bless us, everyone!
While being tortured earlier in the movie, the gingerbread man seems to have a bit of a stubborn edge, but in those final moments of the film, he actually seems incredibly sweet. Get it? Sweet? Because, okay, you get it. Number 9. Gentlemen prefer ogres. At least that's true for our leading man Shrek. Fiona recreates the moment that is forever linked with Marilyn Monroe of the air catching her dress in The 7-Year Itch.
Oh, here comes another one!
Maybe next time Netflix makes a Marilyn Monroe biopic, they'll include Princess Fiona as her obvious predecessor. Number 10. Take the red pill and open your eyes to the reality of just how many movie references Shrek packs in. When Fiona takes on the Woodsman, her fight choreography references one of the most memorable combat sequences in film history. The slowed-down 360 shot of a hero suspended in midair from the original Matrix film.
You have to see it for yourself.
Number 11. Just in the nick of time. Puss in Boots saves his signature hat from annihilation in a scene that perfectly recreates a similar moment from Indiana Jones. The original film also borrowed some action-packed imagery from Indy back when Shrek rescued Fiona from her tower. In that sequence, they encounter a long, rickety rope bridge that highly resembles the one Dr. Jones contends with in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Number 12. God Save the Prince. The now King of England, King Charles III, was until recently a prince. This made him the perfect pop culture reference to slip into the fairy godmother's song trying to convince Fiona that she should aim to be more ladylike in order to charm a real prince. Of course, Fiona ends up choosing a gross, sloppy ogre in the end. And we can't say we blame her.
Now, where were we?
Oh, I remember.
Number 13, he's a maniac on the floor. Even without the off-shoulder tee Jennifer Grey was known for, Puss in Boots does an incredible job pulling off the sultry chair choreography from 1983's Flashdance. We never noticed how much those thigh-high boots look like leg warmers until now. Hopefully the new Puss in Boots movie will include some sweet 80s dance moves too. Number 14, did you know Pinocchio does all his own stunts? Some sources disagree, but we've calculated that 98.3% of all movies made in the late 90s and early 2000s featured a parody of this inescapable scene from Mission Impossible. Of course, Shrek had to get in on the action. Just like Tom Cruise, Pinocchio descends from ropes, and just like Cruise and his character Ethan Hunt, Pinocchio refuses to stop making more movies. Number 15, this reference is out of this world. Even if you've never seen 1979's Alien, you've probably seen the traumatizing chestburster scene where an alien, well, bursts through somebody's chest. Shrek recreates this scene with Puss in Boots popping out of Shrek's tunic, bringing a little humor and levity to the scarring image that haunts our nightmares. Number 16. Next stop, Tinseltown. Jumped in the coach, here we are for the first time. Look to our right and we see the Far, Far Away sign. The Kingdom of Far, Far Away displays a hillside welcome that looks exactly like SoCal's Hollywood sign. The parallels between Fiona's hometown and La La Land continue with references to the famous streets of Beverly Hills and familiar tourist traps like maps to the homes of stars. Number 17. It's a small world after all. Lord Farquaad's dominion of Duloc is packed with jabs at Disney's theme parks. The DreamWorks team makes fun of cheesy parking lot names, endless gift shops, interminable wait lines, and of course, somewhat haunting dolls singing a mind-numbingly annoying, catchy song. Number 18. American dating shows weren't always as nuanced and realistic as The Bachelor.
Sit back and relax, my lord, because it's time for you to meet today's eligible bachelorettes.
The dating game was a household staple that aired throughout the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and the Magic Mirror parodies the show format with 3 eligible bachelorettes seen only in silhouette. Number 19. Pinocchio's got all the moves. Out on the dance floor, the wooden puppet recreates the signature moves of superstar Michael Jackson. The King of Pop may no longer be with us, but it seems like the moonwalk will live on forever. Did you notice all these pop culture references? Tell us all your favorite meta moments from the Shrek movies in the comments.
Oh! Sure is great to be wanted again.
DreamWorks has spent a long time working on some pretty cool Easter eggs. Here are some of the most interesting ones we spotted.
Now we just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Number 1. Babies might be crude, but that's just because it's in their DNA. In the film Boss Baby, the cavemen shown on the projection screen while Ted is pointing at it are actually the characters from The Croods, Guy and Eep, along with their supposed children. Well, in theory.
Well, we Croods believe that the pack sticks together no matter what.
Number 2. Toothless truly earning that Night Fury name. This technically makes Toothless the first character introduced in the How to Train Your Dragon series. You can spot Toothless in the DreamWorks logo for the first time in How to Train Your Dragon flying across the sky behind the boy with the fishing rod.
Toothless, down, gently.
Number 3. Definitely missed this one on your first watch. Earlier in Shrek, we see the 3 bears from Goldilocks and the 3 bears in a cage. Later, we see them separated from Mama Bear and very sad. But where is Mama Bear now? You're not going to like the answer, but here she is anyways. Jeez. I wish the dragon ate him twice. Number 4. Finally, we get a look at what How to Train Your Dragon's planet looks like. In Home, a brave member of the aliens is picked up by an unseen monster's foot while they're exploring a new planet. But if you're a How to Train Your Dragon super fan, you'll recognize the foot as the same one a deadly natter dragon would have. Now we joke, this isn't the same planet Hiccup lives on. Probably.
Figure out which side you're on.
Number 5. The Big Mac seems like a perfect snack for a big, abominable snowman. While Yi plays violin on the rooftop near the beginning of the film, a large billboard for a McDonald's type of restaurant can be seen. That's what they say at least. But looks like a straight-up McDonald's ad without much imagination. Number 6. This toilet drags the name of its director down with it. In Captain Underpants, the epic first movie, when Turbo Toilet 2000 starts breaking down during Melvin's presentation, there's a brief moment where it reads David on his screen. This is a nod not only to the director of the film David Soren, but also to the film 2001: A Space Odyssey, in which HAL 9000, which Turbo is a parody of, says, "I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that." Number 7. Marvel meet DreamWorks. In the new Kung Fu Panda series, The Dragon Knight, the Weasley villains are using a gauntlet with immense power. This is an obvious nod to the Thanos gauntlet from the Marvel Cinematic Universe and its accompanying snap that are now pop culture icons. Number 8. Tell us if you've heard this one before. In the Penguins of Madagascar film, while the penguins meet with North Wind to share their information, Agent Classified tells North Wind to release the sheep.
Release the sheep.
That sheep that North Wind was holding hostage in the film should look pretty familiar to How to Train Your Dragon fans. It's the same sheep design from the Dragon-based franchise, with less dragon burning and eating, of course. Number 9. Apparently in a previous life, Grandma Crude was a Klingon. Or maybe Klingons came from the Crudes? Anyway, in The Croods 2, Grandma says a famous Klingon expression while she circles up with the family. Let Worf tell you what that famous phrase is.
Today is a good day to die.
Today is a good day to die!
You're welcome, Worfheads.
Well, that's it for me. I'm glad it's you, Chunky.
Number 10. You just got trolled by the Boss Baby. In the first Boss Baby film, while we see Tim's room in the beginning before the titular Boss Baby appears, a troll can be seen behind his toy train. A clear reference to the DreamWorks Trolls movie franchise. Which troll? Hard to tell, really. Maybe Aspen? Number 11. Here's a fast Easter egg for you. In the DreamWorks film Turbo, the monkeys from Madagascar are no bueno. While Tito and Angelo argue and discuss the future of their business, Angelo reminds Tito of the monkey petting zoo idea they previously used. As you can see from the paper clipping detailing the news of the fallout from that event, you can see it features the well-known maniac monkeys from Madagascar. Which monkeys from Madagascar? Well, we don't think it's Mason and Phil, due to the lack of a monocle. Number 12. Is this a Jaws Easter egg too? You decide. The shark grabber toy from Boss Baby that Tim uses to try to catch Ted talking also appeared in Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, when the two boys go to their tree fort.
I need to enlighten them. With proof.
It's likely not the same one, but we don't miss these references. It's our job.
Try to say Chewini without smiling.
Chai-wee.
Not possible. Don't waste your time.
Number 13. One might say Mr. Shark thought this was a pretty bad guy's idea. When Mr. Wolf proposes the gang to pretend to be good, Mr. Shark tells the story of a cousin who had an anchor falling on his head.
Hey, did you get hit on the head?
No, I didn't get
My cousin got hit on the head with an anchor.
This refers to the previous DreamWorks animation film Shark Tale, which had two shark brothers, Frankie who had an anchor drop on him, and his brother Lenny, a good guy who briefly pretends to be bad. Number 14. You just can't make a movie without referencing Marvel or Thanos these days, can you?
I am inevitable.
In Trolls 2, King Peppy explains there were once 6 magical lyre strings that represented major tribes of music: pop, hard rock, techno, funk, classical, and country. The idea of gathering 6 strings together and used by the villain of the film as a plot device in Trolls 2 World Tour mirrors that of Avengers Infinity War, as 6 Infinity Stones are needed to complete the Infinity Gauntlet. Number 15. We're glad they didn't flush this idea away. In the film Flushed Away, Le Frog sentences the rats Roddy and Rita to be iced, which means to refrigerate them. That's cold. While they're on their way to be iced, you can briefly see that Shrek makes an appearance on the fridge. Stop. Zoom in. Enhance. There it is. Number 16. You don't have to go over the hedge to spot this movie Easter egg. In the DreamWorks film Over the Hedge, a green-haired doll can be seen as RJ and his fellow animal companions plan their next move. This is clearly a troll doll, a la that Trolls franchise we mentioned earlier. Number 17. Captain Dubois? More like Captain Dufresne. In Madagascar, in the scene where Captain Dubois is in the jail and escapes, when the police officer goes to rip off the poster, it's a spitting image and throwback to the Shawshank Redemption. Number 18. A penguin by any other name. In the first Madagascar film, when Private is trying to gain access to the ship controls, "What a piece of work is Penguin" can be seen on the computer screen. This is a reference to the Shakespeare quote, "What a piece of work is man" from Hamlet. Number 19. This ritual is sponsored by DreamWorks. In the film The Road to El Dorado, the DreamWorks logo can be spotted when Zekel Khan first opens the book of rituals on the second page he looks at. But he does not summon a boy sitting on a moon while fishing, which would have been more welcome than a giant stone jaguar. Number 20. How to Train Your Dragon was already legendary, but this attention to detail is nuts. In the How to Train Your Dragon spin-off series Riders of Berk, Hiccup's father shows him a toy his mother made him when he was young. And this toy didn't come out of nowhere. In fact, it was in Hiccup's crib in the second Dragons film. While Hiccup's father grabs him from the crib, you can see it in the bottom right corner. Those were some of our favorite sneaky Easter eggs from DreamWorks over the years. Any Easter eggs that you noticed that we didn't mention? Let us know in the comments below.
Trust me.
You gotta trust him. Look at those eyes.
A lot has changed since the first Shrek movie came out in 2001, including some details within the Shrek universe. Did you catch everything the Puss in Boots spin-off films changed from the original Shrek movies? We've rounded up the details, and you'll want to know them all before Puss in Boots' Last Wish finally debuts later this year. From animation style to fundamental rules of the world, the creators of the Puss in Boots movies have taken some liberties with the details in Shrek. Number 1. You're not just seeing things. If you've noticed that the animation style in the trailers for Puss in Boots 2: The Last Wish looks different from the rest of the Shrek franchise, you're not alone. When Shrek premiered over 20 years ago, animators were eager to showcase just how realistic they could make their on-screen world appear, even if those realistic-looking worlds were comprised of ogres, dragons, talking donkeys, and anthropomorphic gingerbread cookies.
Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
Now that we know CGI can recreate almost anything in a photorealistic style, animators are taking more stylist liberties to showcase their artistry. Puss in Boots 2 uses 2.5D animation to evoke a storybook effect that perfectly suits our feline hero's fairy tale journey. Number 2. We're dying to know what you think of this one.
You died, Doctor.
The trailer for Puss in Boots' Last Wish kicks off with Puss recalling all the ways he died, and then seemingly immediately came back to life as the exact same cat at the exact same point in his life.
You're supposed to be dead.
But this contradicts a throwaway joke from Puss in Boots' first appearance in Shrek 2. When Puss joins Shrek and Donkey for a heist in the fairy godmother's potion room, Puss brags to his new companions that,
"One of my 9 lives, I was the great cat burglar of Santiago de Compostela."
This implies that Puss's identity changed with each of his 9 lives, which would completely negate the entire premise of Last Wish.
I have 9 lives. And how many times have you died already?
Number 3. Who's afraid of which big bad wolf? Fans of the original Shrek franchise will remember the big bad wolf still dressed as Red Riding Hood's grandmother who's just looking for a place to take a nap.
What?
Like many of the other Shrek characters, this portrayal, voiced by Aaron Warner, flips our expectations of the classics on their head. But it looks like Puss in Boots creators wanted to take the furry villain in a different direction for Last Wish, because this big bad wolf bounty hunter looks like he wouldn't be caught dead in a nightgown.
Lives flashing before your eyes.
He's also voiced by a new actor, Wagner Moura, so this definitely seems like a big change from the Shrek movies. Number 4. This new look is just right. Surprisingly, Goldilocks does not appear in the original Shrek films. She was cut from the first Shrek movie, but she went on to appear in Shrek video games. The version of Goldilocks we see in the video games looks like a completely different person from the character we'll be introduced to in Puss in Boots' Last Wish. We can't blame DreamWorks for this one. With a voice actor as vibrant and charismatic as Florence Pugh, it makes sense to design a Goldilocks that has a personality all her own.
Goldilocks and the 3 Bears crime family.
Number 5. Things are getting dark. A while back, fans noticed a disturbing insinuation made by the first Shrek movie.
You know what I'm saying? Huh?
We see a brief scene with the 3 bears locked in cages. Later they're free, but we only see Papa Bear and Baby Bear. Where's Mama Bear? You may not like the answer. During a panning shot in Lord Farquaad's chambers, we see a bearskin rug, with a pink bow just like the one Mama Bear was wearing. But for Puss in Boots' Last Wish, we know we'll be getting all 3 bears as part of the Goldilocks and the 3 Bears crime family. We can't wait to see how Olivia Colman brings Mama Bear to life. Or back to life. Don't think about it too hard. Things can get complicated after this mini-movies.
Excuse me, my darling. We're looking for the legendary Puss in Boots. Have you perhaps...
Number 6. Baby Bear's not crying anymore. When Baby Bear appears in a cage during the first Shrek movie, he's the only member of the bear trio to speak.
This cake is so small.
He's voiced by Bobby Block, and his innocent tears just break our hearts. Puss in Boots' Last Wish, on the other hand, features a baby bear that seems more likely to break our legs. In the upcoming film, he'll be voiced by British actor Samson Kayo, and we expect him to have a much bigger role than he did in the Shrek movies. And really, who doesn't want more Baby Bear?
Come on, Donkey, look at him.
Say what?
Did you notice all of these changes between Puss in Boots and the Shrek films? From different voice actors to new animation to characters that caught us off guard, it seems anything can change throughout a franchise. That said, it doesn't make us enjoy the Shrek and Puss in Boots movies any less. Let us know in the comments what other details you've caught. And be sure to subscribe to our channel to catch Easter eggs, details, and perhaps even more changes in the future.
What are you doing in my swamp?
Who doesn't love Shrek? We're all major fans of the big green guy, as is the internet. But that doesn't mean we remember every appearance that was made in his many movies. We hope you're ready to see all the cameos in all the Shrek movies. Some may even surprise you. Here we go. Number 1. King Charles III, aka the artist formerly known as Prince Charles. He is probably one of the last people you'd expect to see in Shrek.
What?
That said, the newly minted king actually appeared in Shrek 2, but there's a chance you missed him. He can be spotted in the mirror during the Fairy Godmother song. Or his portrait can, anyway.
What? What do you say? When did this happen?
Number 2. Justin Timberlake is a part of the Shrek franchise. In fact, he has been more than once. When you think of Justin Timberlake in Shrek, his voice acting role as King Arthur in Shrek the Third is probably the first thing that comes to mind.
Is this for real?
Absolutely.
Yet this wasn't actually Timberlake's first foray into Shrek's swamp, so to speak. In Shrek 2, a Sir Justin poster over Fiona's childhood bed not only proves that Fiona is a major Timberlake fan, but also that Justin Timberlake actually exists in the Shrek universe. It kinda makes you wonder if everyone in the Shrek universe thinks King Arthur sounds exactly like Justin Timberlake, since, you know, they have the same exact voice and all.
This guy's gonna turn out to be, I don't know, a king?
It also makes you wonder if the makers of Shrek were huge JT fans, or if they just appreciated that Cameron Diaz, who voiced Fiona, was Justin Timberlake's longtime partner. Number 3. Tale as Old as Time. Cogsworth and Lumiere are two of Disney's most beloved secondary characters, so it's only fitting that they should appear in the Shrek franchise.
You can count on me, mon capitaine.
Even though Shrek himself isn't Disney. It seems like everyone loves an Easter egg to a Disney movie, even its competition DreamWorks.
I do believe we can make this work to our advantage.
Cogsworth and Lumiere make a very brief appearance in Shrek 2, but only when a magical potion spill transforms two workers into the famous Beauty and the Beast characters. We just wish we got to hear him sing Be Our Guest.
You'll be our guest, we our guest, be our guest.
Number 4. Pinocchio is another Disney character who found a home in the Shrek universe. If you've seen Shrek 2, you remember that Pinocchio has a bigger role in the movie than a lot of the other storybook characters who make cameos. And if you're a Pinocchio fan, it's great to see everyone's favorite wooden puppet boy using his growable nose for good instead of, well, being a huge liar.
I most certainly am not!
Number 5. Ariel certainly makes a splash in Shrek 2, and honestly, it leaves us all a little bit confused. In one scene, Shrek is locking lips with a mermaid on the beach. The mermaid definitely appears to be the Little Mermaid herself, Princess Ariel.
Oh my gosh, my father's gonna kill me!
The joke in the context of the film is that maybe Shrek confused Ariel for her fellow red-headed princess, Princess Fiona, who is, of course, the person that Shrek should be smooching. After a good mermaid launching, Fiona seems ready to forgive and forget. But there's pretty much no way Ariel confused Shrek for Prince Eric. So, what gives, Ariel?
You don't even know him!
Do we have to call Eric and tell him about this? Or do you think he's already seen Shrek 2? Looks like yet another beloved celebrity turns out to be a cheater. Number 6. We all remember the three blind mice from the nursery rhyme.
I found some cheese!
These famously tiny fairy tale characters appear in Shrek, and while they may be seriously annoying to Shrek himself, we think they're cuter and funnier than ever in this movie. It's like the old saying goes, one ogre's vermin is another ogre's favorite character. Wait, is that Snow White? Number 7. Snow White is another Brothers Grimm fairy tale turned Disney classic turned Shrek character.
No, dead broad off the table!
After that quick cameo in the OG Shrek, Snow White appears in Shrek the Third, and not only does she look just how we'd imagine she'd look in this kind of animation style, but she even sings the same little melody to the bird as she does in the Disney classic. Number 8. You may need to follow a trail of breadcrumbs to spot Hansel and Gretel in Shrek 2. The famous fairy tale duo's cameo may be super short, but it's great to see these two skipping down the red carpet and not in any kind of mortal danger. Sure, being child stars is tough, but it sounds a lot better than getting eaten by a witch, and it looks like they'd agree. Number 9. Robin Hood, and his merry men of course, appear in the original Shrek.
Please let me introduce myself.
Oh, merry man! They have a song and dance number, and they don't put up much of a fight against a very tough Fiona.
Shall we?
Hold the phone.
Not only is Robin Hood's character a great addition to the film, but his classic costume just goes perfectly with the movie's whole green aesthetic. Number 10. Who knew that Captain Hook was a bit of a musician in his own right?
You don't belong here.
We always thought he was more of a forcing people to walk the plank guy than a piano man. By the looks of his quick cameo in Shrek 2, though, it looks like Peter Pan's evil pirate contains multitudes. See, people really can change. Number 11. Do you remember these trees from The Wizard of Oz? Well, it looks like they haven't lost their sass over the years. Or should we call it aggression? 2 of those trees are arm wrestling in the bar in Shrek 2. Number 12. Which one is just right? The 3 bears of Goldilocks and the 3 Bears fame make a few cameos in Shrek, but we have to admit we really don't love the way they were incorporated into the movie. We first see the family of bears in a sad scene where they're all stuck in cages.
This cage is so small.
Later we see what appears to be Mama Bear in, well, an unfortunate state. As if this isn't bad enough, we then see Papa Bear and Baby Bear seemingly in a state of mourning, but they seem to get over it fast enough when we later see them partying. And Papa Bear is even with another woman. Sure, most of us grew up watching Bambi, so we've certainly seen some super sad stuff in kid-friendly movies before, but come on, isn't it a little insidious to sneak this one into a PG movie? Number 13. Jill of Jack and Jill fame appears in Shrek, but Jack is nowhere to be found. Jill fetches Shrek a pail of water, you know, as she's known to do.
I'm gorgeous. I'm Jill. What's your name?
Then in the sequel, Puss in Boots, we see Jack for the first time, and he's accompanied by Jill, though she looks totally different than the first time we saw her. Number 14. She's here, folks. Joan River used to be the queen of red carpet coverage, so who better than her to appear on the red carpet for the far, far away royal ball? And hearing her announce that none other than Tom Thumb and Thumbelina are on the red carpet just proves that there was nothing she couldn't do when it came to celeb reporting, even if the celebs in question were thumb-sized. Number 15. He's a wizard!
Oh, you don't want to try my famous Rocco Grattan?
No.
In a cameo-heavy movie all about magic, Merlin just has to make an appearance. Merlin appears in Shrek the Third, and this is a very fitting time for the wizard to enter the Shrek universe, given that he's originally known for being in the legend of King Arthur. Number 16. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great cameo in Puss in Boots. Spoiler alert, unfortunately Humpty Dumpty didn't make it out of the Shrek sequel alive. But who knows, maybe all the king's horses and all the king's men can put him back together again. You haven't heard otherwise, have you? Number 17. The 3 Little Pigs have a fairly big role in Shrek the Third. Of course, the big bad wolf was there too, because there's no bond like the one between a pig and the guy who tries to blow his house down. Then again, the big bad wolf is wearing a grandmother outfit, and isn't that a different evil fairy tale wolf entirely? Maybe it's time to stop thinking so deeply and just enjoy the show. But seriously, is that the same wolf?
No!
Oh, thank heavens.
So, do you remember all those cameos? Were there any that you remember that we didn't include? Let us know all about it in the comments.
Welcome to my fiesta!
Did you notice all the Shrek references in flashbacks during Puss in Boots' Last Wish? There's even a super quick appearance from Shrek himself. Number 1. Did you catch him? He's the gingerbread man. We loved finding out that the high-pitched cookie from the Shrek franchise was alongside Puss in Boots at the end of one of his lost lives. Number 2. We got our Shrek cameo. Fans were desperate to know if Puss in Boots' Last Wish would feature a cameo from the Green Ogre himself, and it did. A really, really, really short cameo.
Really?
Let me take a look.
It's just a quick memory of Puss walking over a log with Shrek and Donkey a la The Lion King. A reference within a reference? Amazing. Number 3. Another Shrek universe cameo, no strings attached. Did you love the reveal that Jack Horner performed next to Pinocchio?
Look, a magic puppet!
'Cause I'm a real boy!
It was fun to see the Shrek universe Pinocchio do the iconic Stromboli puppet show, although we've really got more Pinocchio representation than we can handle at this point. Number 4. Okay, now we're pumped. The flashback Shrek cameo was a nod to Shrek and Puss in Boots' shared past.
Oh, come on, Donkey, look at him!
But the final scene confirms that the two will share the screen again in the future.
No one's that nice. I don't trust you.
As Team Friendship approaches the familiar kingdom of Far, Far Away, Puss literally says,
Off to find new adventures.
And to see some old friends.
Oh, yeah.
We are so in. Number 5. She should see a doctor. She's looking kinda green.
Ogre!
The Wicked Witch, who has appeared in the Shrek universe before, is in the waiting area for the doctor as Puss leaves his exam. We don't know what brought her there, but the doctor helped Puss after he was crushed by a giant bell, so maybe he has a good treatment for the house that fell on the witch's sister. Number 6. Poker is going to the dogs. During the 9 Lives flashbacks, we learn that one of Puss's fatal encounters was with a group of poker-playing dogs. The scene is arranged to look like that famous painting, Dogs Playing Poker. Number 7. Not everything is the MCU.
It is one thing to question the official story and another thing entirely to make wild accusations.
Sure, the Shrek universe is pretty expansive and at times almost as convoluted as Marvel. Puss in Boots' Last Wish is a sequel to a prequel that takes place after the sequels that the prequel was a prequel to? If you say so. But if you stuck around through all the credits hoping for another tantalizing glimpse at the future film, you got roasted. Puss just says,
Oh, you're still here?
and isn't that the classic DreamWorks satire you came for? Number 8. We've got chills. The sinister wolf announces himself by whistling a slow, spine-tingling tune. It creeped us out every time we heard it, and it also reminded us of another menacing whistler, Omar from the critically acclaimed show The Wire. Omar actually warned he was coming with something even more appropriate to the world of nursery rhymes and fairy tales, The Farmer in the Dell.
Yo, so come on, yo, Omar's coming, man!
Both whistle tunes now have permanent residence in our nightmares. Number 9. Will he be back? When Jack Horner meets his end, he sinks into the ground, a visual similar to Terminator's final farewell in Terminator 2. This sets up the perfect reference. Arnold famously goes down with an emotional thumbs-up gesture, while Jack Horner is famous for sticking his thumb down into a plum pie. Number 10. How do you like them apples? Toxic-looking apples among the many magical objects in Jack Horner's collection that reference Disney fairy tales.
Hey, softpaws! How do you like cheese apples?
These poison apples look specifically like the one the witch concocts in Disney's 1937 version of Snow White. It's kind of incredible that the very first feature-length animated film is still relevant enough to reference in an animated film 85 years later. Number 11. If the shoe fits. Another referential artifact in Jack Horner's office is Cinderella's glass slipper. While he packs for a vengeful journey, he decides to leave the slipper behind. This could be a reference to Cinderella leaving her slipper behind as she fled the ball, or it could just be logistical, because a glass slipper always seemed like wildly impractical footwear. Number 12. This brings us to a whole new world. Aladdin's magic carpet lies on the floor of Jack Horner's office before Puss and Kitty commandeer it. This scene was a fast-paced heist, but we would have loved a brief aside for those two to take a romantic tour of the 7 wonders of the world. Number 13. One snack makes you larger, one snack makes you small. Jack Horner chows down one of the Eat Me, Drink Me treats from Alice in Wonderland to grow to an epic size for the film's final showdown. Number 14. This reference is practically perfect in every way. Clearly, Jack Horner has a lot of magical items referencing fairy tale movies, so how will he pack them all for his quest? Using one last magical item referencing a Disney movie, Mary Poppins' bottomless carpet bag. Can we get one of those? It would save us a lot of money if we never have to check luggage again. What were your favorite Easter eggs in Puss in Boots' Last Wish? Let us know what references you loved and which ones we missed in the comments.
How hilarious was it when the cutest, most innocent animal sidekick is revealed to have an absolutely filthy vocabulary?
Rat face, butt nugget, for brains, you know, that sort of thing.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is packed with moments like this that only adults would appreciate.
Let's go find out!
Wait!
Number 1. We once heard a dog's mouth is supposed to be surprisingly clean. That probably wouldn't hold up in lab tests, and it's definitely not true for Perito in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Perito may seem like the sweetest, most innocent character in this movie.
I don't trust you.
Me neither.
He cannot be trusted.
But when push comes to shove, he delivers one of the filthiest lines in the film. Well, at least we assume he does. Every other word is bleeped out, indicating a slew of filthy swear words unfit for a PG audience.
Oafish, munching, minky, nugget, and your snooter.
The presence of implied foul language and the use of the bleep are both things meant mostly for the adults to appreciate. Number 2. Get a load of this. Okay, honestly, we have absolutely no idea what actual words Perito is saying in his bleeped out rant to the Three Bears family. That actually makes it a little tamer, because if we can't figure it out, kids couldn't either. But there's really no question what Kitty Softpaws was about to say before being cut off in this dangerous flower scene.
This is stupid.
All I smell is bullshit.
Little kids might miss that one, but not adults. Although we think this one is really in there for the older kids who get a huge amount of satisfaction from knowing exactly what inappropriate word Kitty was about to say. Congratulations, preteens. Number 3. We'll drink to that. We love it whenever Puss in Boots slides up to a bar and suavely, or sullenly, orders a glass of milk. All of the imaginary language and ensuing antics makes it clear to adult members of the audience that milk for cats in this world functions exactly like alcohol for humans in ours. I mean, this gato is chugging pints, throwing back shots, and in his more vulnerable moments, ordering something high quality just to sip. Kids may have a vague understanding of the concept around drinking alcohol, but specifics like
Another glass of cream. Make it your heaviest.
are jokes tailor-made for the more worldly adults in the audience. Number 4. He had to go there. Goldilocks and Baby Bear do not hold back on their insults for each other. Some of their repartee includes zingers that only adults would really understand. We don't expect kids to understand how cruel and funny it is for Baby Bear to call his adopted sister a low-rent Cinderella.
You're nothing but a low-rent Cinderella.
But for the adults who were listening closely, this sick fairy tale burn is worth the price of admission. Number 5. Some of these plot lines are pretty deep. Kids are sure to enjoy the heist, the quest for the wishing star, and the brilliantly animated slapstick and battles along the way. But the real crux of the film is actually something that might be a little too mature for most youngsters to grasp. At the end of the day, this whole movie is about Puss having a full-on existential crisis.
I'm supposed to be a fearless hero, but without lives to spare, I am nothing.
At one point, he literally buries his old identity and falls into a feline depression. Luckily, he finds that life is still worth living even if his sense of self has evolved. Us grown-ups needed that happy ending after witnessing this heroic kitty spiral. Number 6. Interesting. Can you say more about that? Even if kids understand some of the humor in Perito self-identifying as a therapy dog, the truly hilarious line about therapy will only have full impact for adults.
And his therapy dog!
Finally! You need therapy.
Puss getting called out like that by his ex is something that's only funny when you've witnessed the complexities of adult romantic relationships. Number 7. This is a sad state of affairs. Puss's life at Mama Luna's depicts the indignity of Puss's geriatric years with painful precision. Most of the jokes around this topic will go over kids' heads, like Mama Luna's concerns about a health department raid.
You're not from the health department, are you?
We better get you inside because, baby, they are always watching.
Number 8. We hope kids aren't encountering this issue with their pediatricians. Doctor/veterinarian/barber/dentist/witch hunter that Puss sees after being crushed by a bell delivers bad news without a ton of finesse. Puss doesn't appreciate this.
You've really got to work on your bedside manner.
Bedside manner is not a term most kids are familiar with, so we have to assume this quick dig at the doc made it in the script for the enjoyment of adults. Number 9. These bakers are making buns of steel. When our hilarious and unapologetically evil villain, Jack Horner, orders his dozen bakers to form a bridge for him, he includes the instructions,
"Flex the glutes, I need a solid surface."
That whole concept, including the word glutes, would go over kids' heads. But it's a funny specific to adults, especially with John Mulaney's deadpan delivery. We can totally hear Andrew saying something like this on Big Mouth. Number 10. Get ready to feel old. Young kids who saw Puss in Boots: The Last Wish when it dropped in theaters weren't even born yet when the first Puss in Boots movie came out. And most of their parents were still kids or young teens when Shrek debuted in 2001. How is that possible? We hope that parents have given kids the proper animated film education to prepare them for the references in this movie, like appearances from Gingy and Pinocchio or the Hakuna Matata motif. But if not, those cameos are for mature audiences only. Number 11. Hasta la vista, baby. If you got that reference, then you may have also been among the folks who got the Arnold Schwarzenegger reference in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Jack Horner's final moment, sinking into the ground with thumbs up that he turns into a thumbs down, is a reference to the way Arnold's Terminator goes down in Terminator 2: Judgment Day. You know, the 1991 classic that children are intimately familiar with? Yeah, no. This one was definitely for the oldest adults in the audience. Number 12. It all comes down to the wire. Today's youth are all well-versed in HBO prestige dramas of the early 2000s, right? Well, if not, then it was probably only the adults who noticed that the Wolf's Whistle in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was referencing Omar's warning call as he stalked the streets of Baltimore in the TV show The Wire. Number 13. Not the bees! Definitely don't think kids were picking up on this meme-fied Nick Cage reference. Actually, most adults probably even missed it. But for those who caught the quick line of the dialogue featuring Baby Bear crying out,
Ow! Not the bees!
Just like Cage's character in the cringe-inducing remake of The Wicker Man, it's an extremely satisfying deep cut. Number 14. Is it Jiminy or Jimmy? The world may never know. Kids will get that this bug is supposed to mirror Jiminy Cricket from Pinocchio, but only adults will notice that his voice seems to be a pitch-perfect impression of actor Jimmy Stewart.
Maybe we need to dig a little deeper. Tell me about your childhood.
Just remember this, Mr. Potter, that this rabble you're talking about.
Whether this was an intentional reference to the fine, upstanding moral characters Stewart was known for portraying, or just a failed attempt to impersonate the voice of Pinocchio's Conchus from the Disney cartoon, we'll never know. But either way, that's a question only adults will be leaving the theater with. Do you love it as much as we do when kids' films include jokes and references geared for adults? Let us know which grown-up only moment was your favorite in the comments. And make sure to subscribe to our channel for more references, Easter eggs, and hidden details in your favorite animated films and TV shows.